No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so if anybody knows me, if anybody's been a long-time follower of mine, then you would definitely know that I am a massive fan of the series Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. I was a huge fan of the anime Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, as well as its second season, Magi, the Kingdom of Magic. I was a huge fan of the manga, where that term, greatness, that is screamed out throughout the community. It originated with me screaming out that Magi greatness. I mean, for crying out loud, I even named my daughter after one of the characters from Magi because it was just that impactful to me and that much of a really awesome story. So when I heard the creator of Magi, Shinobu Ohtaka, was coming with another one, I was like, prepare yourself, guys. Like, we're going in again, because the creator of Magi, honestly, her pen game is just fascinating. Like, Magi itself was such a deep and complex story, and a lot of people would be like, really? It's a shonen and stuff like that. But if y'all know certain shonen series, they can go really deep and complex. I mean, for crying out loud, one of the themes of one of my favorite arcs of the entire story is arguing back and forth whether or not free will exists, and people falling into depravity over the thought of not having free will, battling against God. What is God? Like, there are some really deep concepts within that story. So again, in 2018, when I heard that Shinobu Ohtaka was starting a new manga, I want to say it was 2018, called Orient, I was like, oh snap. I want to say I had read a bit of that first chapter way back when, but honestly, it was like a blur to me because I didn't really remember anything other than like, hey, the character designs look kind of familiar. So, fast forward now, we got the first episode of the anime, and I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, I've been talking about it on my Forever News segments for a little bit. We had a little couple of promos come through, some imagery, but I ain't gonna lie, I will be 100% with y'all. Upon seeing some of the promos and imagery, I was like, I'm excited. At the end of the day, hey, Shinobu Ohtaka gets another shot at a mainstream title. Boom, awesome, the characters look dope, but I could tell based on a lot of the imagery moving forward as it was getting closer, okay, it doesn't look like it's going to be a high budget production by any means, which every series doesn't need that. Not every series is meant to be the big, what I'm saying, creme de la creme. Maybe it'll still be awesome, maybe it'll be just, a slow burn or something like that, because again, it wasn't looking like it was going to be huge. Then I see episode 1 today as it's dropping, because the winter 2022 anime season has begun, and I'm not even gonna lie, one of the things to describe the way I felt about the animation is I felt like the drawings themselves were almost petrified and scared to death to move. They were like, no, we can't move, because fam, one of the things off rip from this episode that I felt was the fact that the art and animation definitely, like, there's of course a case of, hey, everything can't be top of the line, everything can't be 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. Like, everything cannot be Ufotable's Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen's Mappa Studios. Like, everything can't be that. And I totally, completely understand it. But when I watched this first episode, I ain't gonna lie, part of me was like, well, is it a Toei title? Because Toei has been infamous, like, you go back to the first season of World Trigger and things like that, where it's like, it's not the greatest by any means of art and animation, but at the very least, you get in your mind, like, well, hey, they might have a whole bunch of episodes, and it might be, a long runner or something like that, which sometimes can be kind of cool too. But to my knowledge, I don't believe that that's the case with this series Orient, because the series Orient is produced by Studio ACG TV, and they're not too like wide range in terms of like massive titles. A couple of the titles that I seen that I was familiar with was like, oh, they did Duel Masters in 2002, and I think they did like Freezing, the anime Freezing. They got a couple of titles, but they're not like the biggest studio in the world, and it looks like they hadn't done an anime since like 2019 as well. So this was like their first time since pretty much the pandemic started that they got back in the booth and was like, okay, we're gonna try it again. But In case you don't know about Orient, and I'm about 5 minutes into this video telling you now, but Orient, essentially, there's a main character, Musashi. I'm not sure exactly what era it is, maybe the Tokugawa era. Basically, this is post-swordsmanship from what it seems like, because in this world, the Bushido, the people that were once swordsmen, are now branded as traitors and criminals, and the Oni are looked at as saviors, and the main character, Musashi, is like, yo, this is wrong. We've been told lies. Him alongside his friend Kojiro basically were told by Kojiro's father that no, the history is wrong. You guys, the Bushido, the people, the swordsmen, were not the bad guys and the Onis were good guys. They have basically lied to you. So for the longest time, as this guy Musashi is being trained to be a miner, like a coal miner essentially, he's been actually, unbeknownst to everybody else, using that time and swinging his axe to train as a swordsman to one day slay the Oni. Because even though everybody else happily goes with the indoctrination that, oh yeah, the Oni are the good guys and the swordsmen were bad, to the point that Kojiro, because of his direct lineage to the Bushido, he has to walk around with like a chain with a sword on his hip and a chain and a ball to basically signify that, you know, he was a part of this clan of traitors and bad people and stuff like that. But the day comes for graduation that Musashi is essentially supposed to go over to be a coal miner, because even though he has these ambitions and goals like, I'm going to slay the Oni, I'm going to change all of this is all wrong, because everybody else goes along with the program, essentially Musashi just walks along with it, even into the graduation ceremony of like, hey, this is where you're supposed to go and become a coal miner. But upon going through the gates of the coal mining place for the graduation and stuff, he quickly realizes that they all have been bamboozled into essentially slavery by these Oni that really are just some weird looking giant cats with like stars for face, and their face opens up and it's like a giant jaw. Really creepy looking shit. At first it's like, wow, these are really Oni, they're just giant cats. But once they actually start and you see them slaying things, it's like, they're not anything to play around with. And while everybody else is horrified there, Musashi's like, oh, bet. So I was right all along, huh? I guess it's time to slay these motherfuckers. Let's do this. And despite the fact that Kojiro wasn't a part of that, he quickly realizes, because he also had a little bit of an internal conflict, because he wanted to stop Musashi from trying to attack the Oni or anything like that, because he's like, yo, I want him to just live a normal life. He doesn't understand as well. Nobody really knows the secret that once you go beyond to become a coal miner, you're going to be essentially a slave to these creatures, and, you know, it's really bad over there. But he essentially arrives over there to Musashi because he realizes Musashi is about to go mess shit up regardless, and all hell breaks loose and they gotta go fight the demons, the Onis, these, again, cats with stars for faces. And I ain't gonna lie, for a first episode, it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I liked the premise of it. I love the whole idea of like, yo, nobody really knows what's really going on except these two, and in particular Musashi is going to make a stance, he's going to make a change. Gave me reminiscent vibe. It's Shinobu Ohtaka, that there's probably a lot more that is underneath the surface we're just now cracking into, because Musashi is just now seeing, oh shit, I was right, and we're just now getting the Oni towards the end of the episode. And yeah, so I'm sure there's more stuff to it. The little bit of action that we did get, it was alright. There was no Sakuga scenes or anything like that. In terms of aesthetics wise, yeah, this was not the big enchilada beauty or anything like that. It was very standard and at times very dull, looking at characters that don't move. I mean, I knew from the beginning of this episode that, oh, this is what we're in store for, because episode 1, you're supposed to put your best foot forward. You're supposed to wow the viewers from top to bottom. And yeah, the art and animation from jump, when they're just explaining things about this world, is very, very just not good. But thankfully, the story so far seems like it's intriguing. The characters are definitely enjoyable. And as far as being a Magi fan and seeing some of these character designs that are kind of like somewhat remixed from Magi, for example, Kojiro, he looks a lot like Alibaba, and Musashi kind of looks like a red-haired, like a mixture between maybe a faunalist and Aladdin, but he's way more manly than Aladdin. Like, he got a deep voice and stuff like that, so a little bit different than that. But either way, I'm torn, because I could definitely acknowledge acknowledge that production-wise, it doesn't look the greatest. Again, HCG TV isn't like a big studio, a powerhouse or anything like that, but I kind of like what I'm seeing, so I could see myself continuing to watch it. But in terms of giving you guys a heads up on it, this might be one of those cases of maybe watch a few episodes and the production probably isn't going to get better. So at the very least, you know about this one and you can go read Shinobu Ohtaka's manga, because this doesn't look like it's going to be a smash hit anime. And maybe I might be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see that being the case, because production quality is a major staple nowadays in 2022 of anime fandom, and unfortunately this doesn't cut the mustard by any means in those avenues. It has a really dope score. I like the music. That was something else that caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit, it got some tunes, it got some slaps, but I don't really know how far this one can go, considering it seems like it's made on a budget. Curious what you guys think though. If you're a Magi fan coming through, how did you feel about this first episode of Shinobu Otaka's new work, Orient? If you are just fresh to this series in general, you never checked out Magi or anything like that, what did you think about this first episode as a whole? Yay, nay, thoughts on the production, thoughts on the characters, the story. Again, it got strong characters so far. I like Musashi, he's hard-headed, classic type of character. Then of course Kojiro looks kind of badass as well. The story is definitely the most intriguing aspect, I would say, of everything, with these Oni and the lies that humanity has been fed from, you know, whatever happened back in the day. Production wise, again, very, very disappointing. It doesn't look great at all. And yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes. Oh, and music sounds pretty good. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of this one? I look off rip, I gotta just say that it seems like, hey, it'll grab a lot of people's attention and tell them to go read the manga. So yeah, that's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm Shinobu World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga, one life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in. Shinobu Ohtaka back. Orient anime is here. It could have been better. Damn, man. Why did this studio pick it up? This could have been a hit. I don't think it'll be a hit. Who knows though. Have an awesome one.
You